rely on your silence. They thrive when you are too exhausted to resist, when you're too distracted by survival to organize, when you are taught that politics is dirty and not your concern. But understand this, every price hike, every failed hospital, every land grab, these are political decisions. And by not engaging, by not questioning, we become complicit in our own oppression. But once the people awaken, the tide shifts. Once the youth refuse to be silenced, once the mothers speak truth to power, once the elders remember the strength of their voice, no IMF loan, no dictator, no puppet regime can stand. From protest to participation, revolution is not always a fiery explosion. Sometimes it is quiet. It happens when a young person registers to vote, when a market woman refuses to pay a bribe, when neighbors gather to fix a broken road without waiting for the government. This is your mandate, not just to resist, but to rebuild. And to do this, we must reclaim 5 sacred rights. The right to question is ask why, ask how, demand clarity. Whether it's a village chief or a president, authority must answer to you. The right to organize, join hands, create unions, form cooperatives. Stand not as individuals, but as a united voice. The right to information, know who owns your land, know where your taxes go. Knowledge is power, and it is your right. The right to refuse injustice, refuse manipulation, refuse to be a pawn. Resistance is your sacred inheritance. The right to dream. Dream not just of escape, but of change. Envision the Africa your children deserve and begin building it today. This is not just a fight for governments. Yes, leadership matters. Yes, corruption must be purged. Yes, puppet regimes must fall. But a just Africa cannot rise on political will alone. It needs a people awaken, a people who refuse to settle, a people who will no longer be ruled by fear but led by conviction. You are not spectators, you are co-architects of the new Africa. Every action matters, every voice counts, every ripple becomes a wave. To the youth of Africa, you are not the leaders of tomorrow, you are the fire of today. Do not wait for permission, do not wait for funding, do not wait until you're older or wiser or richer. Start now, speak now, organize now, build now, because if you don't shape your destiny, others will sell it. To the elders, we need your wisdom, not your silence. You've seen regimes rise and fall, you've endured hardship, betrayal, and hope. Now is the time to guide the young, not with cynicism, but with courage. To the mothers, you are the backbone of every revolution. It is in your arms that nations are raised. Do not let the world call you weak. You are the guardians of justice. To every African listening, this is not Ibrahim Traore's fight alone. This is our shared mandate, to demand truth, to reject fear, to build a continent that finally honors the dignity of its people. Power is not something given. It is something realized. And today you must realize you are not powerless. Seek a reckoning, the fear is your awakening. My beloved sons and daughters of Africa, by now you must understand, we are not in a battle of guns. We are in a battle of narratives, control, and fear. The institutions that chain us, whether called the IMF, the World Bank, or the silent elite who never show, their faces are not afraid of our armies. They are afraid of our awakening, because an awakened African is a dangerous thing. The game they played so well, for decades they told the world that Africa was the problem, that we are corrupted, that we are incapable of governance, that we are dependent, primitive, and always needing help. They told us these lies so many times that we began to believe them ourselves. So we begged, we borrowed, we bowed. But in doing so, we forgot who we are. We forgot that Africa is the cradle of civilization, that it was here under our skies that the stars were first read, that it was our ancestors who taught the world about medicine, astronomy, farming, and spirituality. We forgot that before there was an IMF, there was Timbuktu. Before there was colonial aid, there were kingdoms with universities, armies, trade routes, and governance systems that spanned continents. We were not poor, we were made poor. What they fear most, let me tell you the truth, they will never publish in any global newspaper. Their power depends on your ignorance. Their comfort depends on your silence. Their wealth depends on your exploitation. So when you begin to read, they panic. When you organize, they tremble. When you unify across borders, they conspire. Why? Because a generation of Africans who know the game, who see beyond the aid packages and debt traps, who refuse to sell their futures for short-term illusions. Such a generation is unstoppable. They fear not your rage, but your clarity. They fear not your weapons, but your wisdom. They fear not your protest, but your purpose. The awakening has begun. Look around, you feel it in your bones.